This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 4th day of December in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. President David Granger has indicated that his chemotherapy schedule that is part of his cancer treatment will continue until May of next year. He's expected to make a number of trips to Cuba until he completes the treatment there. The president and his wife left Guyana early this morning for Cuba, where he will complete the second cycle of his treatment. He said he intends to return to Guyana by this weekend. In a statement from his office, President Granger is quoted as saying that he will have to return to Cuba at the end of December for another round of chemotherapy treatment. In an interview just before departure, he spoke about what he'll be dealing with in Cuba.
The hospital, CMEC, has drafted a schedule of treatment for me, which runs until May 2019. In my first visit, I had not only the biopsy, but a series of tests and examinations. And I also had my first cycle of chemotherapy. I now have to return for succeeding 5 cycles. So this is the second cycle, and I hope to return much more quickly than I did at the first visit, because this is simply the administration of chemotherapy. So presumably, after the test, which will be done today, Tuesday, I will have the chemotherapy and return by weekend.
The president said he expects that by the start of the new year, his progress will be sufficient to allow him to take on more duties. He has scaled back on his presidential duties since returning from his first round of treatment in Cuba a few weeks ago. Before leaving the country this morning, the president also said he's thankful and grateful for all the support and well wishes that he has been receiving.
I think my illness, although personally unfortunate, has brought forth a response by the Guyanese public, not to a politician, not to a political leader, but to a national president. I think they feel that the presidency is what has been jeopardized by this threat to my health. And I think what I've seen so far, both privately and publicly, is a very favorable national concern that the head of state, whoever he may be, should enjoy the best health. And I would like to thank people in the Caribbean, other heads of government, business leaders, my own colleagues, the general public, the individuals, particularly the ones who held the vigil, the churches, for their prayers and support. I am encouraged, and in certain medical situations, the psychological and psychic factors are very important. So I'm very grateful, very thankful. I look forward to being able to resume my full duties as early as possible.
President Granger was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma back in early November and began treatment in Cuba immediately. Although he has scaled back from some duties, his office has indicated that he remains in control of the state machinery. He has been in contact with his cabinet and other senior government officials regularly and has also been hosting meetings. More news coming up in just a moment.
Christmas big, plus size big things big, we gone big, yeah. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, Christmas big, plus size big things big, we gone big, yeah. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, yeah. We giving you, yeah. We giving you. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, yeah. We giving you, yeah. We giving you. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho! It's the GTT Plus Size Christmas. There's always more to love with GTT. Terms and conditions apply. See gtt.co.gy for details.
This Christmas, get a loan for your dream car with an extended repayment term. Spruce up your home with that renovation you always wanted and take advantage of low or no down payment. Get new appliances so you can cook up a storm. You'll get same-day approval. Plus, you can win a getaway to a destination of your choice. Visit RepublicGuyana.com today to find out how.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Get ready. to ride it, ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild, catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong, come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave, 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 wave,
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong, and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Welcome back. As the budget debates continued this morning in the National Assembly, the opposition's point man on public health, Dr. Frank Anthony, lashed out at the government over some of its procurement practices for the health sector, telling the National Assembly that the government has been paying for drugs that are not being delivered.
More than $345 million were paid for drugs, but it was not delivered. Mr. Speaker, in 2015, the ministry is yet to receive $144.6 million worth of drugs that has already been paid for. Fast forward to 2016, again, $67.78 million worth of drugs that was paid for but has not been delivered.
Dr. Anthony said the trend has been continuing in all of the budget years since the coalition government took office. He said somebody needs to explain what is really taking place.
This type of situation, Mr. Speaker, where right now there are shortages of drugs in almost every health facility in this country. In every health facility, and I repeat that for emphasis for the minister, because if she goes around to the various health centers, she would know that. So don't come here and pretend that there aren't shortages. Right now at the Georgetown Hospital, there are shortages. You go to any one of the health centers and we can identify shortages. So don't come here and try to tell us that there aren't shortages. We know differently. We know differently.
According to the opposition member, there are also drug shortages at every health facility in the country, and therefore the Ministry of Public Health should be doing more to ensure that needed medications are delivered on time. Dr. Anthony said there is also an issue of importers for pharmaceuticals being without the requisite license for them to import the needed pharmaceuticals. He said he has been asking the health minister for over a year to provide a registration for the importers, but she is yet to do so. The health minister is expected to address many of the issues raised today when she contributes to the budget debate later this week. Still in the National Assembly, more housing opportunities are to be delivered to low-income earners in the new year, as the Central Housing and Planning Authority is set to roll out a major project that will see the construction of 350 affordable housing units in several areas. The announcement was made yesterday by Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Patterson-Yearwood, who has responsibility for the housing sector.
CHNPA has designed several low-income housing units, which will be on display during our exhibition in 2019. The cost of these units commenced at $4 million. In 2019, the agency will construct approximately 350 to 400 units in several areas. In addition, we will work with the private sector to deliver additional units across the country.
The minister also announced that the housing agency will work with the private sector to deliver additional units across the country, while those desirous of constructing their own homes will have access to house lots. According to the minister, the government remains committed to bridging the gap between the hinterland and coastal communities in every aspect, including housing. Turning our attention now to the oil and gas sector, with ExxonMobil announcing its 10th oil discovery in Guyana, the head of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, is encouraging Guyanese to look beyond the oil and gas sector for benefits from the sector. In an interview, he explained that employment opportunities will be available for a number of sectors that will benefit from oil and gas.
The oil and gas sector impacts all range of sectors within the country. And this includes from the tourism sector to the hospitality sector to the services sector. So from your taxi drivers to your tour operators to the individuals who are looking for better farm to market roads to get their produce to markets. We're also aiming to reduce the cost of energy to provide for better and more secure energy supplies, and also to allow us to transition towards agro-processing. So for the average man, he may not be directly employed with ExxonMobil or any of the other oil operators, but the benefits that are derived therefrom will filter through the entire economy, of which he and his family are expected to benefit.
Exxon has reported that its 10th discovery of oil in Guyana's water has taken the number of discoverable oil barrels to over 5 billion barrels. By 2025, the company intends to be producing close to 750,000 barrels of oil per day. For Guyana, experts believe the country's economy could see growth by more than 1,000% in the early years of oil production. Already a number of local businesses have been setting themselves up for the opportunities that the sector will provide. Dr. Bino said those opportunities will be many. And finally tonight, in the courtroom of Justice Joanne Barlow today, a 35-year-old man was found guilty of raping a 14-year-old girl. He will be sentenced next week. The convict, Esmond Kwesi Slow, did not appear bothered by the guilty verdict. He stood quietly in the courtroom as 11 jurors offered a guilty verdict, while the 12th juror voted the other way. He did not offer any statement even after told that his sentencing will take place in the new week. A probation report is to be compiled and presented to the court before sentencing. The incident took place on the 16th of December back in 2016 in the county of Demerara. Because the victim is a child, details of the case cannot be reported. Still in the courts, a teen was sentenced to 4 weeks of community service after he pleaded guilty to robbing a man of 2 cell phones. The 18-year-old Omar Kenneth told the court that he is a school dropout and takes full responsibility for his actions. He admitted that from time to time he would find himself in the wrong company, but he pleaded with the magistrate to give him a second chance to make a difference. He said he was abandoned by his mother a year ago and has never met his father. The court was told that on the day in question, the accused, along with another man, grabbed the victim by the neck and relieved him of his 2 cell phones, which are worth just over $30,000. An alarm was raised and Kenneth was arrested while the other man made his escape. After listening to the facts of the matter and taking into account the remorse offered by the accused, the chief magistrate sentenced him to 4 weeks of community service. He will be monitored during that period. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.